Hello everybody. So what we have here today is electric wheelbarrows, and I thought I'll just make a bit of a longer video kind of just going through them, how they work, what they look like, and why maybe somebody might like to use them, or how they could help in your work. So these are Czech-made wheelbarrows. It's called Mobarrow. So I'll try and do like a kind of honest review. You know, I have obvious bias, but so just to show you what they look like. So basically, this one on the left is the simplest version, and then this one on the right, that's like the top spec version, if you think about it like cars. They're exactly the same frame. You can have different bins on them. These ones have 120 litre plastic reinforced bins, but you can have 80 litre plastic bin, you can have a 100 litre zinc bin. That's like the cheapest option. That's kind of like you see on many wheelbarrows, regular wheelbarrows. And then you can go this one, 120 litre, which is, I would say that's the sweet spot. That's what you want for most jobs, and they're very hard reinforced plastic like this. I haven't seen one of them break yet. And then you have a 200 litre bin, which is a good bit taller. It's great for like landscapers, you know, but bulkier stuff. Now, so how these wheelbarrows work is they have a motor here inside the wheel. Then there's a gearbox connected to the motor, which is very important for higher torque. Because what you'll see in a lot of wheelbarrows, they'll just have a motor and they're basically just electronically slowed down because they're usually used in like e-scooters and stuff, which like to go around 20-30 kilometers an hour. And you know, for obvious reasons, you don't want to be going that quick with a wheelbarrow, so you need to slow them down. And when they do it electronically, it loses a lot of its power, and that's really what matters in wheelbarrows the most, is not the speed, but you really need high torque. And that's why you really want to have a gearbox, and that's a planetary gearbox, sealed, so nothing can get into it. And it really makes a huge difference. I'm gonna show later, just because that's where these things shine. It's the uphills on their weight, you know. So that's pretty much it. Very simple. There's actually this red lever. When you pull it out, you pull out the motor from you separate the drive from the wheel, and so then you can just freewheel it. It's more meant like emergency. If anything happens, you know, you can. It's like an escalator. You can always use it as a regular wheelbarrow. You know, when an escalator breaks, it just becomes stairs. So when an electric wheelbarrow breaks, it just becomes a wheelbarrow. And yeah, the tires are pretty cool on these. So they're called lamellar tire. You see, they have these lamellae in the middle. They're very tough, these tires. You can't like, they've been tested. So many things been tested with them. You know, thrown off. They were trying to tear at them. They're very, very. They're not hard. Like, see, the problem is usually you'll get a tractor tire which has good cushioning, and that's good for the motor, you know, and good traction because it deforms, right? But then the obvious problem is punctures. So then you have the solid wheels, which are great. You don't have a puncture, but the problem is they're so hard that you lose traction, and all the shocks are, you know, there's no cushioning in them at all. So this is like this is actually what the Czechs make themselves, and it's their invention, and so far it's just shown to be like the best of the both worlds, and it doesn't really have a downside. Maybe it's a bit more expensive, but over its whole life it's gonna save you money and save you hassle, save you time. Never gonna have a puncture. If anything comes through it, just pull it out. And yeah, and actually if you really put heavy weight on them, I still haven't really achieved that, you know. You can really overload them, and they do deform a little bit on purpose, but it actually improves the traction. So really great idea, and that's what you really want. I haven't seen those. I actually seen them. There's a company using them in Czech as well for lawnmowers. They started using them, and yeah, I haven't seen any failure with them yet. So that's it for the wheel. And maybe we have a look at the battery. Oh, sorry, something happened with the camera. So now we have a look at the battery. So I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna explain everything on the simple one because it's, you know. So the motor, gearbox, that goes to the battery. The battery is not lithium, and everyone will tell you all lithium batteries are the best. That's what you want, but not all lithium batteries are the same. And the cheap lithium batteries are this one is AGM, so it's like a acid battery, sort of like a car battery, but actually the acid is not, there's no liquid in it, there's a fiberglass lining, and the acid is soaked in the fiberglass, and so that's why you can flip them up. They're really rugged. They're much cheaper than lithium batteries, and you still get on these wheelbarrows, like, you really get 6 to 8 hours off the lever down. So it's actually like a lot of people are, you know, surprised that they last pretty long. And it actually has a button which will tell you the voltage. So there's 12.4, 11.4 is when it's empty. But see, the thing with these batteries, first of all, they're very rugged. They don't really mind cold, and you know, they're very stable. They're very safe as well. There's no fire hazard or anything with them. And the other thing is that they like the voltage stays very high in them for the whole time. So they kind of stay high, and then by the at the end, so let's say for 80% of the battery, just to say it like a layman, 80% of the battery, they stay very high voltage, and then they drop dramatically at the end. So these batteries don't like to be really drained. That's why, so 11.4, the wheelbarrow might still be going after that, but you're better off charging it. And it doesn't mind overcharging, so you can just stick them every evening if you're like working really hard. But most people will, I don't know, charge them once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending on the job, depending on how much weight you put on them, how many hills you're climbing. So but very rugged battery. You know, this whole kind of design is just, if it's simple and hard to break, don't screw with it. Keep it, because it needs to, like a wheelbarrow is going to be in some abuse. Then you have a big fuse in here. The fuse actually, it has a safety system, so if you're going uphill and you're really overloaded, like the motor wouldn't be able to handle it, it's gonna blow the fuse, and then it's gonna apply like a safety regime. And as you're, let's say, the idea is you're stuck somewhere on a hill, and with 100 kilos in the wheelbarrow, all of a sudden, like, it wouldn't be able to climb it, so it pops out the fuse, and then when you keep holding the controller, which will show you now in a second, it will actually apply like a brake, and you'll be able to slowly come down off the hill. Like, that hasn't happened to me yet, and I've really tested these things pretty hard, but yeah, that's like a nice feature I only heard about. So anyway, that's enough for. Don't mind the wheels yet. That can be this can be a regular wheelbarrow. You can see those wheels, they're actual attachment, and there's only 4 screws on each side. You take off these 4 screws, this steel plate pulls out. It actually just goes into the leg of the actual wheelbarrow, and so it can be taken off in like 4 minutes, and it basically turns into a regular wheelbarrow. This one has a few attachments. I'll go into it a bit later. So now when I drop it back down, so that's the battery covered. Now the control, that's probably what most people be interested about. So this version is like the simplest version you can have. Basically just has one lever, and when you press it, it immediately goes into full speed, which is 4.5 kilometers. So when I press it immediately picks up speed. So this is just because it's so simple. It's basically battery directly connected to the motor, and you press it, it just gives it power, and then it will slow down with weight. So you can even just freewheel it. When you're not pulling the button or pressing the lever, and you push it, it does slightly, because the motor is engaged, it slightly brakes, and it actually recharges the battery as well. Like when you're coming off hill, it'll give you a slight braking power. That's on the simplest one. The simplest one only goes forward. It's just press of a button. Right. So I'm gonna go over the frame a little bit now. So this is another attachment this one has, which is a side tipping frame. So when you pull out one of these levers, the bin will actually tip to the side, and so I'll show it to you here now. See, and it's a double frame, so it goes back in. When you pull out this one, it will tip the other way. I'll show it to you now in a sec. I just wanted to show you the frame, because this is another important bit when you're choosing any wheelbarrow really, but electric wheelbarrows, I've seen a lot of them, and they come in a box and you have to screw it together, and that's just, what wheelbarrows get put through. So if your wheelbarrow comes in a box and you have to put it together, every time you use it, it's gonna try and come back to its original size, which is pieces in a box. So what you really need, like, this is probably the most important thing, is it has to be a solid, proper welded frame, which this one is. I'll try to be objective, but that's a no-brainer. Like if you have connections here somewhere that you put it together, they try to make it a box, it's never gonna work. Like, you're never gonna get the same strength of a fully welded frame, and that's the whole idea. So anyway, that's the frame. So maybe I'll show you just how it tips the other way as well. So see, you just pull out the other one, and the other side of the frame opens. And basically the idea is, because once you have those wheels on, which they will add another like 14 kilograms to the wheelbarrow, but they're definitely amazing. Like if you want one thing that's going to make the biggest difference, is this, because you don't have to carry the weight of the wheelbarrow. It's like a little dumper. I don't like to use that word because people there's a lot of misconceptions between electric wheelbarrows and dumpers. So this is still an electric wheelbarrow. It's still light. You can still maneuver it like a regular wheelbarrow. You can toss it in a van. But yeah, those extra wheels are amazing. And then once you have those wheels, obviously it's going to be a bit harder when it's fully loaded to tip it forward. So that's the idea of this frame, that it will actually allow you, like I already had probably over 200 kilograms, which you shouldn't even put into them. That's overweight. And I was able to easily, see, you step here to the side, put your foot on the step just to hold the counterweight and lift it up, and it tips really clean. Everything comes out. You can see the angle when it comes down. Everything is coming out of that bin. There's no bits left over. So yeah, those are attachments. Getting away from the whole point. So anyway, that's pretty much everything to it. It's this is the simplest, right? This is called Standard Classic. This is the simplest wheelbarrow they have. This is basically the first one they made. It was like 17 years ago. Now it just went through loads of improvements over the years. You know, the gearbox, all kinds of improvements. I'm not going to bore you with stats. I just want to keep this light and simple. But then we move. This is the higher version. So this is extra power. First difference, I'll show you now later. This is a 250 watt motor, and it has a 10 centimeter wide laminar wheel. This version has the power motor, which is a 300 watt motor, and it has a 16 centimeter laminar wheel. Still the same idea, just much wider, but again, slightly bigger motor. Gearbox still there. And by the way, when we're talking about watts, I'll just quickly say, because people will be telling you watts don't really matter at all about the motors. First of all, it needs to be a good kind of slower motor for wheelbarrows. Like I've used a 1000 watt motor wheelbarrow, and it wasn't able to go up a 30-degree slope with 60 kilograms, while this version with 250 watts. So think about it, the 1000 watt motor has 4 times more watts, and this wheelbarrow pulled 100 kilograms up a 35-degree slope, nicely, slowly controlled all the way up. So forget about watts. People will throw watts on you. They don't mean anything. What makes the difference is the gearbox. So you have the motor, actually, so just to illustrate that further, the 250 watt motor, or now this is the 300 watt motor, has twice or half as much torque as that one. So this one has 50% more torque than the 250 watt version. So that tells you as well, that shows you that the watts don't actually matter that much. And the better thing as well, when you have the gearbox, because the wattage can be smaller on the motor, and the motor just runs the place it likes to, it's not electronically slowed down or anything. It doesn't take as much power, and there you go back into the, why they last pretty good time on the charge. So it's all, everything is trade-offs, right? So you always have to take all that into account. So this one is the same thing. It has the same attachment, the wheel and the frame, but the big difference with this one, not only the more powerful motor, but this one actually has, it's called extra control. Oh, sorry, it's a bit dirty, but look, a good wheelbarrow should be dirty and used. So this one actually has two levers instead of one, and you just have to, so when you press down, this one is like your control and this one is your power. So now it's engaged, like I just pressed it down, it's green, it's engaged, ready to go. When you press it, it goes forward. But the difference over that one, where the simpler version, it just, you press it and it goes full speed. This one, the more you press, the more it goes. So you can see I only have it there like a kind of clutch. Yeah, it works like a clutch. And then if I put it all the way, it goes full speed, right? I'll just attach this. And now to show you, so what the other handle does is when you hold it down, you're still green, that's reverse. So it actually has a reverse as well. And same thing, the more you press it, the faster it goes. So it's better control. And then when you press this one up, you'll see it there on the right side. It will turn red, and that means it's in brake mode. So right now, like I'm just putting my weight on it, it rolls, but there's a bit of a brake in that wheel. And then the more I press the power button, the more it brakes until I press it fully, and now it's actually light, so it's pushing the whole wheelbarrow. But yeah, like it's fairly hard to move, and it actually recuperates like a car. So it will actually charge your batteries, and I thought it was just a joke, but it can actually charge up to 20% of the battery, which is pretty cool as well. So I'm actually going to try and do something with this badass hill here in a second. I think I'm going to take the wheels off. The wheels are really amazing for most people. Like you want the wheels because you don't have to carry the weight. And to be completely honest, when you have the wheelbarrow and without the wheels on flat ground, it's not like wow, amazing difference, you know, because you're still carrying all the weight. You're definitely going to carry more weight. It's only without the wheels, it's only like when you get to something like this, like the things that would be impossible with regular wheelbarrow, you can actually drive up hills and ramps. So definitely going to feel a huge difference there. But just on flat ground, regular work, you're still carrying weight, so it's still, you know, but some people, they still like to work out. So I'm going to drive this back here. You can see, so I'm not forgetting anything. The back wheels are lamellar as well, as you can see. So same design. Because that's really what you want, like they'll never break, you're never going to have a problem. And we all know what pain it is to change tires and stuff, you know, even on bikes. So yeah, the control, that's explained. What else would I add to this? So then I kind of stop with the wheels. Yeah, you really want them. For most people, they want these wheels, because that's going to make a huge difference. Then you're going to feel like it's day and night. It's completely transforms the whole thing. But yes, there'll still be some people when you're working somewhere really tight or rough, big off-road or very deep mud. Like in deep mud, these things are still with the wheels. It still goes, but for like really steep hills, you might just want to. But that's the great thing about the wheels. You can always take them off for these like extreme jobs and then put them back on. So yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything here for start. I just kind of wanted to show you what they look like. And yeah, so thanks very much for watching, and if you have any questions or if you'd like me to try to do something with them, if you have some good ideas, pop it into comments and I'll try and oblige. Thanks very much. The steepness of that hill. Now there's a way to do it. I think this one. Let's go. It's best to stand up and just. Right, so here we go. Pulse.